Matt Levine back here on pregame with Rumble Ponies bullpen catcher Matt Yee. Matt, thanks for the time.
Yeah, Matt, thanks for having me on.
A lot of Matts here going on, you know?
Yeah, Matt Rudick, me, Matt O'Neill. So
there's a lot of us.
Yeah, quality Matts.
Anyway, we're going into the final week of the season here, but let's start with the opening part of the season, the beginning. You work at Oracle during the day, and this is what you do almost for fun at night. How did this position come about for you?
You know, it's interesting. So I had played baseball, obviously, like we all do, right, growing up. And I got sick, right, went through some medical stuff, and that pretty much knocked me out. I was pretty talented in high school and played for a guy named Reggie Williams, who ended up coaching also our development coach, Juan Loyo. So when I was getting back into baseball after going through some medical stuff, I was like, hey, I'm going to do what I want to do and what I love. I was assigned to an independent team in the Pecos League, hurt my hamstring, and Loyo was like, hey, like, if you want to come out here and get working, you can. I never caught before. I was going to play third base.
Wow.
So that's how I got here and just got a good opportunity.
Having never caught before, now you're catching some of the best baseball prospects there are. What's that whole development for you been like?
You know, it's interesting. There's obviously like both a mental and physical component. The physical component is, can you do it, right? The mental component is, right, how do you stay composed during it? How do you calm your anxiety? And how do you have a good mindset ultimately to succeed? So I think for me, the three keys have been, number one is just be okay failing, right? Fail early and fail fast, which is something I've learned from my tech background. And then number two is don't make the same mistakes again, which that's a physical component, right? It's get into baseball shape, working out with the guys, you know, learning from guys like Matt O'Neill, Drake Osborne, and KP Kevin Parada. You know, it's been great just seeing them and learn from them and then ultimately executing.
What's the whole experience been like for you overall, just being around this team day in and day out?
Yeah, I think number one is you live out your dream, right? This is like, you know, you're as close as you get. You're a player coach, essentially, right? I've been actually fortunate enough to be the bullpen coach here and there and step in when Mariano had to leave, and great guy, by the way. I've been able to just be around the game, right? I love it here. I love being in the clubhouse. I love ultimately contributing and winning, which is why we're all here, right? To win.
You mentioned earlier the medical stuff you went through, and obviously feel free to elaborate on whatever you want, but how is that, going through all those tribulations and going through all those hardships, helped you in this role and just helped you enjoy it even more?
Sure. So I think number one is a little bit about my background is I've had cancer 3 times. Most recently AML, acute myeloid leukemia. I was terminally diagnosed. I got it in October and they said I wouldn't get it December. And then when you go through that, you reevaluate your life in a way that you can't. You look through a completely different perspective. And ultimately what I realized is I lived with a lot of regrets, and after cancer took me out of baseball the first time, I just never went back to it, right? I lived a normal life. I mean, I got a degree from Stanford, right? Like, you go into the workforce with that. And I think going through everything I did ultimately did lead me coming back, right? Because I love it. But I think more often is like the hardships that you go through with cancer, the mental component, the physical component, having the willpower to say, I'm gonna feel it. Because cancer's like baseball. You fail all the time until you're good, right? Like, and this game is a game of failure. So being able to use a lot of my past medical willpower that I've gained and a lot of the drive ultimately like gave me like unflappable intestinal fortitude.
You have a tremendous story, obviously, and I commend you for all of your battles that you've been through. Just the mental side of it, you mentioned briefly. How in the world do you tackle that several times?
You know what? I don't think that people can. I think that you are forced into that situation, right?
Sure.
So from the cancer side, it's the first time you get it, it's a shock. I got it, you know, in my late teens. And you say, how could this happen to me?
Right.
And I'll be honest, at first, mentally, I wasn't great. I was like, hey, this is it. I'm not going to try. And ultimately, you say, you wake up and you either decide, hey, I want to live, like, and I have X, Y, Z I'm going to do. And the second time, then you're like, hey, you know, how could this happen? And you question everything. And at the third time, to be honest with you, I did shut down for about a month 2 months. I delayed a lot of positive opportunities I had to get quicker treatment. But ultimately, I mean, I had a heart-to-heart, and I'll say my faith really brought me through that, and I became a Christian through that, and I really relied on that. So ultimately, that's the only reason why I was able to make it through. I mean, I worked off of my faith, and then ultimately, now I live every day like I don't get tomorrow. And that's here in baseball too, right? Like every day I'm out here, I treat it as this is my last time I'm catching a ball. This is my last time putting on a uniform. And when you're like that, everything goes into it, like your blood, sweat, and tears. I'll always give 110% effort here because I know that you may not get tomorrow, right? So leave it all on the field.
Matt, appreciate the time. Thank you so much, and we wish you all the best, both health-wise and in your career.
Yeah, thank you, Matt.